Most of his working life has been within the recovery industry. He's the owner and managing director of Automania Group Limited. He's possibly the only recovery owner-operator that's never attended a breakdown, nor has he ever sat in a breakdown truck. And that's possibly why he's successful and why he sees things around our industry in a different way to an awful lot of people. And I'm sure that you'll gather some of that this afternoon when he speaks to you. As with everybody except Mark, I did your bio for a previous presentation I did, so I didn't need to come to you again. I asked for a few bits for Richard's bio, and he sent me a voice clip. I threatened to play it, but we're not going to, Richard, no. So, by his own admission, he's proud of all of these things, every one of them. Past Avro Council member, past chair of Avro Region 10, founder of LARO, founder of the RHA Recovery Group, although that's disbanded now, co-founder of the Tow Show in its original format, and co-founder of RISK. Most recently founded the Campaign for Safer Roadside Rescue and Recovery. Founder and instrumental in setting up the APPG for roadside recovery. A couple of things that we've heard from Peter earlier today. And if I've missed anything, I'm sure he's going to remind us in a minute. But in 2018, he stood in front of us and gave a vision. It was alongside our late friend Dave Gregory, and it was a vision of a thing called Prof. No further introductions, Richard Goddard.
Thanks, Derek, thank you. I was only joking when I gave you that voicemail, by the way. I used to work in a betting shop as well, you missed that out. Before I start, basically, Mark, that presentation you gave of the IVR, you summed up pretty much what I haven't been able to sum up in all the times I've presented about Prof, what Prof is. An all-parties communication framework for all of us. You see, a lot of people see Prof and they just see me, and they hate it. But I don't want to represent the recovery industry. I just don't want the recovery industry to misrepresent me or us. And what I've created with Prof is a framework of major stakeholders, major government offices, the police, the fire brigade, UCRO, national highways. All of those people are instrumental in what we do, and many of them are the paymasters of what we have now. And so, you'll see what, in the last year, how I put together Prof, but what started out as my vision for me isn't mine any longer. Hopefully, you'll all see that Prof is yours. Prof is a federation that represents all aspects of this recovery industry. That meeting that you talked about, you didn't set it up with me, did you? You needed to speak to the other stakeholders that are strategic partners of Prof. You copied me in, but it wasn't anything to do with me. You spoke to them, speak to each other, you sort out what you need to do. Prof does not represent the recovery industry per se. Prof communicates now with the government agencies and puts forward the problems and stuff that we have, and then hopefully the Federation itself gets an opportunity to sit down with government like I have for the last 3 months now. I say government, not government, but the Home Office, National Highways, the NPCC, and have constructive communication of the real problems that we're suffering. And I'm not trying to win anything, I'm trying to communicate to the people that can change this industry for us. Communicate what we need, why we need it, and the consequences if we don't get them. So, can you just roll? What have I got to do? I can't change your wheel. How am I going to work this? Oh, what? Do I press it again? The green one says next. All right. That should be the end. That's nearly the end. Okay. Profcom 21. What we needed, or what the industry needed, is the same format as what we've got here, but we weren't really getting together as an industry to talk about the industry itself. And so Profcom 21 was a brainchild of bringing together the industry, bringing together, and hopefully the start of strategic partnership agreements, and putting our industry in the shop window to the police, to the fire brigade, to UCRO, to Sector 17, to National Highways, to everybody, to actually see good stuff that we do and what we are, and how they need us as much as we need them, and they do. So that was Profcom 21, that was roughly about a year ago. Prof became the first, after that, Prof became the first industry body to present to the National Police Chiefs Council, National Police Chiefs Council. And I was really proud to do that. The recovery industry, really, never had that access to these people. And contrary to what I've been reading and what I've been hearing about the police and about stat fees and about police contracts, they were welcoming, they empathised, they listened, and they went back to the Chief Constable, which initiated a strategic partnership agreement between Prof and the National Police Chiefs Council. And I'm really proud of that, because that's working, and it's working still now. Oh yeah, I hadn't even nicked. We've signed a strategic partnership agreement. What? Oh, okay. I addressed the IVR AGM primarily to explain to certain people who were on Facebook or on other faceless social media things where they want to criticise without understanding or knowing what they did. So I wanted to explain to the recovery industry what we are, what we do, and why we do it. And primarily, in the embryonic stages of what we've got now, why we're doing it. So, another landmark. The NPCC invited me back for question. Oh no, not for question. They invited me back. They invited me back to their conference. And this time, what I did was, I took real VROs with me. I took people with me that understood police contracts better than me. I'm not a contractor, and like Derek says, I've never driven a truck. So VROs, I took Matt with me, I took Derek with me, and I took Nick with me, president of the IVR, so that they could give all the different aspects of our recovery industry and the investment that goes into what we do. Because we're all going on about stat fees. I'll come on to stat fees in a bit. Stat fees, we will get them, and there will be an improvement. And I got an update from the Home Office yesterday. But our real problem, the real thing we should be understanding, is police contracts. Police contracts. They're the things that are putting people out of business. They're the things why people can no longer afford to have their companies, their buildings, pay the rent. Because police contracts, in the end, basically have been stolen from us. Do not put too strong a point on it. And the problem that we've got now is, while we're trying to make it better, it's pointless unless the VROs that are involved with police contracts stop signing things that are going to put them into liquidation. So, that was a really good stepping stone, and that's where I met MIB, and that's where I met Tracy Catlin from the Home Office, and and that's where I met Tracy Catlin from the Home Office, and that's where we started to have reasonable conversations, and getting them to understand that third-party involvement in police contracts, not just stamp fees, police contracts. So, and then that introduced the MPCC to the IBR, and now they are working together, yes? Yeah. You're working together, you have direct contact with them. We've never had that before. There's always been a barrier between third-party management groups and other people, and we haven't had that type of intimate contact. And we are going to be moving forward together, not just as an industry, but as a federated industry that understands each other and works with each other. Prof doesn't benefit from membership fees. Like many people point out, I haven't been around for, well, I have been around for 40 years, but Prof hasn't been. But the thing is, in creating something like this, for 40 years, different trade associations take membership fees, and now businesses can no longer be part of 3 different trade associations or 4 different part bodies or whatever. So what I wanted to try and do is create something where we benefit from the stakeholders supporting us. From people, Isuzu, they sell 1 million trucks in our industry. All the different stakeholders that we work with, it's in their best interest for us to have a federation that works for us. So there's no membership fees. I've gone out and got sponsorship from people like Isuzu, and I thank them because they've been very generous, and that's helping me now to build, instead of it just being me sitting there in my ivory tower like a nutter, I now have people working with me like Derek, like Mac, like other people, like Sue, who's now the Prof administrator, who takes care of all the stuff that I just simply haven't got time to do. So I thank Isuzu Truck for their sponsorship, and long may it continue. And it's a great truck as well. Sorry, I think, but it is. ProfCon 22. Just brilliant, to be perfectly honest. There was probably about the same amount of people, but the bodies that we put together, and we signed those strategic partnerships, and the police, the fire people, they presented to us. They spoke to us. And let me tell you, the MPCC, like the chair, Terry, Mick, all those people, Dan Quinn of the fire brigade, those people are learning about our industry and embracing it. And we've got to do the same thing. We're on the same side. And we can blame whoever we want, about whatever we want, about stat fees, about rates, about whatever. But it's up to us to be responsible for our own businesses and work together to improve our industry. Because this model is broken. And they won't fix it, they can't fix it. It's got to be us. So that, immensely proud about that. We are now a federation. These are other people that contribute, support, their stakeholders. And if you look right across the board, right, we've got great support from stakeholders, and we get an opportunity to work together with them. If I need to speak to anybody there, I can just pick up the phone and they'll help. Unfortunately, it's not always one-way traffic. Unfortunately, sometimes they want to speak to Prof now. And recently, Green Flag wanted to have a meeting with me. And I thought it was with Automania, but it wasn't. It was with Prof. And it was to announce what they're doing going forward. And the responsibility of not only being president of Prof, but in the meantime drifting off thinking, am I going to lose my house in? Because that's what could happen. But the problem is, passing that information on to you, to the rest of the industry, and then explaining that it's not Green Flag's fault. Because it isn't. we've got to take responsibility for how this industry has evolved. Like, and I hate the word BROs, because we're businesses. We're not just recovery operators, we're businesses. And we're not seen as businesses, we're not respected as businesses, and we don't respect ourselves as businesses. And that's what needs to change this model. So, I mean, I wrote what I had to say about Green Flag in the magazine. Some people will like it, some people will tell me that I'm wrong. But I'm a BRO, or a recovery business, and I'm going to suffer as much as everybody else. But what I will be trying to do is trying to look at a model that will make it better for us to work out what we're going to do and work with Green Flag to take on the AA, who, in my opinion, if we don't take them on soon, they're going to ruin this industry. They're behind everything that's bad. I'm sorry, but they are. Police contracts, all the work that they're losing. They're a business, and you've got to respect what they do. But they're in business for themselves, and so are we. And if we don't support the independent work providers to us, we can't win. So Green Flag are going to take them on at their own game. And I'm hopeful it will balance it out a little bit. But we've got to support that, because if they lose, then we're all going to lose. Is that what I've done? Seems like more. So in the last month or so, I had a meeting with the National Police Chiefs Council to discuss statutory fees and where we are with that, and they very kindly then brokered a meeting with the Home Office, which I think was very constructive. And I think they went away with an understanding and gave me a proposal of what they were going to do, or try and do. Like, it hasn't helped that there was a 6-week delay in the consultation, because in that 6 weeks, look at the differences. We've got different Prime Minister, different government, different everything. 6 weeks earlier, we might have got away with it. But that's where we are now. So, Nyla's coming here yesterday, and again, this is what's afforded to the relationship. I asked for an update on stat fees, where we are. Actually, the emails on my phone, so I've got it down there. But basically, I think it read, now that they've got over bridges and all the other things that the government were working on, there is a proposal put forward now to try and get passed. And that's where we are now. So there is a positive proposal that's been put forward, and hopefully, the figures that we're looking at, I saw people up earlier on about 40%. I think the figures that we're looking at would probably be closer to between 25% and 30%. But one of the things that I did ask for them to look at is a biannual review, so 2 years. 3 years is too long. A 2-year review. And I mean, a review doesn't mean you're actually going to get something, but at least it's been reviewed. Last review we had was what, 2008? It's no good. So, the Home Office are totally aware of what we're trying to do. They're totally committed to working with us and speaking to us. Hopefully some of the pressure that's been put forward by 10 days to them is maybe making them do more, I don't know. But as an industry, we've been spoken to, we've been heard, and I think stat fees, it's not a case of if, it's a case of when, and hopefully they're working for it to be before the end of this year. I then had a meeting, a face-to-face in London with Nick Harris, the CEO of National Highways. We spoke about a few things about that presentation that we had earlier on by Sheena. I think that's about the first time I've seen it. But one of the things that it made me aware of in the constant battle for red lights, everyone's been focusing on smart motorways and conventional motorways and stuff. Did you see the KCIs for just A runs and conventional runs? 4 times. the amount, and we're the only ones that go on. They talk about, oh, you don't need red lights, you don't go on in live lanes. Well, what do you think the A roads are, the B roads are, and the other roads, every nook, every cranny, every bend? We attend them all. In fog, in rain, in sleet, in snow, at all times, right? We're not protected by anybody. We have to look after ourselves. And so, it's very difficult. That KCI they gave me the ammunition to say to them, we didn't get red lights in, was it 21? Because you studied dilution. Well, you patrol about 2,200 miles of motorway. Recovery industry covers 25,000 miles of strategic road network. So how can we be diluting them? And we're covering the most dangerous aspects of everywhere we go. Our blokes are out there in the middle of the night. Even just during the day in fog. But we're in live lanes every day. And so, dilution, conspicuity, all of it, as far as I'm concerned, I won't use the word, but you finish the sentence. It's complete, and that's what it is. And we're at a stage now, or I'm at a stage now with them. I said to Nick, do national highways object to us having red lights? Yes or no? He said, I haven't got a problem, as long as it's done in the right way. Now, they were the last people to have a problem with us having red lights. That fiasco that you lot attended, that TRL light, that's just a joke. It was just to put us off for another year. I'm not letting red lights go. Between Risk and the other stakeholders in this room, we invested too much money, too much time, and lost too many lives for us to just be used and abused. And I've written to them already, stating the obvious, and I want a report back from them, because I want us to get red lights, and I think we're really close to getting them. And if we're not, we need to know why. We need to know the responsibility of the person that doesn't want us to have them. Last week, I met with Joe Shiner. Well, I didn't meet with her, it was a virtual meeting. And she's the Chief Constable, Head of Roads, the lead on the National Police Chiefs Council. To talk about police contracts. And they're currently, I think, born out of the meetings that we've had with the NPCC and the other police areas. I think that she's taken on board because they have got problems. And it hasn't helped, especially she's based in Sussex, I think, and we've just lost 2 VROs in Sussex. I've not lost them, but their businesses have gone. And Derek wrote a very eloquent and timely piece regarding that. And so she's doing a review from top to bottom of police contracts. And it's my understanding that she's going to do them in a red, amber, green way of the worst ones. But we've got a role to play as well. Because during that review, I mean, I said to her, so will West Midlands Police contract, will that be one of the red ones? I'm going to fine the VROs £100 a minute, is it? Is it? Yeah. £100 a minute if you're late. Right, £100 a minute. So I asked the relevant question. Imagine if you were charged that when you responded to burglaries and other things, or didn't. Could you? And she understood straight away. I wasn't trying to be clever, but I was trying to show to her that we've got the same problems as them. You know, we're underfunded, we're understaffed, we're under everything. But I also bear in mind that somewhere out there in West Midlands, or down the road from here, I don't know, there's someone going, I can do that. As long as they give me loads of it, I'll do it. And that's the problem that we've got. Like, it's all right, everyone's saying, let's stick together. Well, do you stick together when you're making money? No. So if you're losing money, take responsibility for it and see where you are. And we've got the opportunity. We don't need to strike, we don't need to do anything. We need to be responsible for our own destiny. We need to be responsible for our own businesses and take responsibility for that. Because what happened to, is it JD? Is it JD? What happened to JD? What happened to A1? What's happening across the country is that we've set up years ago for contracts that are no longer deliverable by us in their current formats. And we've got to take responsibility to help Joe, to help Terry, to help the other police forces. They might not like it in the beginning, but we've got to do what's economically viable and profitable and sustainable going forward. We can't keep just saying that, because part of the reason Green Flag decided to do what they could do, they're looking at the independent network and they're thinking to themselves, where are they going to be in 10 years? Who's going to deliver our policies for us? And it's true. And so, more isn't better. What we need is, whether we're working for police contracts, whether we're working for the motoring organisations, whatever, we need to understand the economics of what we're doing. We need to be working with the other independent work providers as well. Because let's face it, they're the backbone of what we're doing. Green Flag were as well, and can continue to be so. But the current model is broken, and we've got to try and fix it ourselves. And so, Joe's going to continue doing the review. I'm not sure how long it will take, but Terry's going to be the lead on it, and we're going to continue to work with our strategic partners there. And then once the review's in, we'll meet again with Joe, and hopefully start the infrastructure for police contracts. Because from what I can see about this recovery industry, is that my company was never a police contractor, but most of the big companies, their profits and their size of it and everything about it was built on the backbone of police contracts. And so, once that infrastructure's gone, and the branding mowing organisation just continue to just undercut, like slash and burn, and we can't keep up with that, where's our future going to be? If doctors can't treat patients with cancer because there's not enough of them, if planes can't fly because there's no pilots, and they cancel because they're too cheap, every industry that you phone up at 3 o'clock in the morning, get an answer. Sky, costs you £200 a month for Sky. Virgin, all those people. You phone them, you either get a robot, or you get someone you can't understand. Primarily, you get nothing. You phone a VRO, family-run VRO, or any one of us, me included, 3 o'clock in the morning, three rings, hello! How can we sustain that? And what are we going to do? People are going about customer expectations. We get complaints when we're 2 hours late on a job. What about the customer expectation of the man waiting for his chemo? Or all major operations that can't be delivered? How are we delivering the service we're doing now? I don't get it. And we're going to walk out tomorrow, we're going to see all the great motors that we've got that we're going to invest in and all that. Make them pay. We've got to make those vehicles pay. Otherwise, we just won't survive. So, I'm sorry if it sounds like a prophet of doom. That's not my intention. But that's what we've been doing over the last 12 months. This is what Prof is all about. And I'm hopeful that the continued work with the police, the fire people, everyone, all of our stakeholders, all of our strategic partners, that's why I've got strategic partners, because they are the roads into the very people that Peter mentioned earlier, that we need to have their attention. And the government know we're there now, everyone knows we're here now, and let's do something about it. Thanks for being part of the Federation.